They began as wooden walls on muddy hill simple, temporary, and vulnerable. But as war evolved and power shifted, so did their walls. Castles became symbols of dominance, military innovation, and architectural brilliance. This is the story of how humble forts became stone giants, defenders of empires and homes to kings. Welcome to the evolution of castles. After the fall of the Roman Empire, Europe was a battlefield. Lords and warbands needed quick, defensible shelter sand. They built them from wood. These early castles were called motte and bailea, wooden keep on a hill, the motte, with a fenced courtyard below, the bailey. Quick to construct, they allowed Norman lords to dominate newly conquered lands, especially in England after 1066. But wood burns. And as enemies grew more sophisticated, castles had to evolve. Stone changed everything. Lords began replacing timber with limestone and granite. Stone castles took years to build, but they could last centuries. The keep, once wooden, became a thick-walled stone tower nearly impossible to burn or break. Castles like the White Tower in London symbolized not just defense but domination. But stone wasn't just about durability. It allowed innovation, spiral staircases, arrow slits, drawbridges, and murder holes. Enemies couldn't just burn your walls, they had to besiege them. As siege technology improved, castles had to get smarter. By the 13th century, castles were no longer single towers, they were concentric fortresses with multiple layers of walls. Think of Beaumaris Castle in Wales, built with geometric precision, multiple lines of defense, and death traps at every turn. Siege engines like trebuchets, battering rams, and siege towers became more common, and castles responded with gatehouses, curtain walls, and rounded towers that deflected projectiles. Castles became masterpieces of military engineering, each stone a calculation of survival. Not every castle was built for battle. By the late Middle Ages, many castles became luxurious residences and political centers. Lords added great halls, private chambers, chapels, and gardens. Castles like Château de Chambord in France were more palace than fortress, beautiful, extravagant, and full of art. They hosted feasts, weddings, diplomacy, and trials. The seat of power was no longer just on the battlefield, but in the courtroom and banquet hall. This dual life, part military, part majestic, defined the next evolution of castle life. But nothing lasts forever. By the 15th and 16th centuries, gunpowder changed everything. Cannons made even the thickest walls crumble. Castles fell out of military use and were replaced by star forts, then modern bases. Many were abandoned, others converted to estates, prisons, or ruins of history. Today, castles attract tourists, archaeologists, and filmmakers. But their legacy lives on not just in stone, but in how they shaped borders, cultures, and our imagination. From wood and fear, to stone and power, to symbols of a world long gone,